Does the microphone work or not? Let's try it without the microphone and see whether we get any kind of response at all. Let's try that. Hi, I'm Martin from Evolution, and what I'm going to do today is show you two simple, very visual and dynamic ways of prioritising your tasks both at work and at home, which means you'll no longer need to use lists. There's nothing wrong with lists, but if, like me, you feel it difficult to sort of look at a list of tasks and prioritise what needs to be done first and what needs to be done next, what needs to be done later, in what order, then you might find these two very simple ways of managing your time and your tasks very useful. And they're both based on the same sort of model. You may have come across this before. In terms of looking at, your tasks, you could fit any of your tasks at work or at home in somewhere into this diagram. And what I suggest you do with this is have a flip chart like this with it drawn on, or a whiteboard where you can write things on and scribble things out and so on. That can be quite useful. If we look at this line here, it really sort of reflects the fact that some of the things you do are very urgent, some of the tasks that you sort of pick up or you're given or clients give you to do, perhaps less urgent, but still need to be done. And also this line here, this continuum, and we have areas that are jobs that are less important, but also some jobs that are very important indeed. So as you look at your tasks, and you can prioritise them, you can put them anywhere on this diagram here, on this model. So if a task ends up in this quadrant here, which is very important and very urgent, then they're the tasks that you do, so do it. Tasks that are very urgent but less important, these are the ones you can delegate. It's still very urgent that the task gets done, but it's less important that it's actually you who does it. Tasks that fall into this quadrant here, that are very important but less urgent, then these are the ones you can delay. And by delay, we mean put a time on it, so it becomes part of your forward planning. So it's not just something that gets left and you don't actually complete, but you're putting a time on there, but you don't need to do it now, because it's not quite that priority. Jobs that are less urgent and less important, then that's the task that you should dump. You don't need to do. If it's not urgent and it's not important, then why are you doing it? The final column here is reserved for the jobs that you have actually done. So if you have this on a board and you have it on a whiteboard or on a flip chart, then what you can do is use these post-its, write your task on the post-it, take it off and put it in the quadrant that it needs to be in. So maybe some that you can delay, some that you can delegate, some that you can dump, some that you have to do, and some that you have to do. So as you build up your picture of the tasks throughout the day, you've got them spread around the model here around the board. As you go through the day and as you complete the tasks, what you can do then is take them off and put them in the done it column, which means that as you go through the day you start to see what you've actually achieved during the day, and at the end of the day you can have that really satisfying feeling of being able to take them off, scrump them up and throw them in the bin, which is a really satisfying and motivating thing to do. So that's one way of using this kind of process. The second way is on the surface very similar, except it's really dynamic, because one of the problems with the first way of looking at it is, as people say to me, that's great, but what if I don't have anyone to delegate to? Well, if you don't have anyone to delegate to, then obviously this column, this quadrant that's called delegator is sort of useless. So this is a slightly different way of using the same matrix. And what we're saying with this one is that it's completely dynamic, so it's a continuum, so we're moving from things that are less important to very important, and things that are less urgent to very urgent. And as you pick up your tasks and you write them on the post-it, they could appear anywhere. So it could be, reasonably important and reasonably urgent. Or it could be very important and very urgent. Or maybe it's actually less urgent but also less important at the moment. Or it could be anywhere on this board, depending on what the task is and what the priority is at the moment. And as time goes on, what happens is things that are less important and less urgent can often move. So they start to become more urgent or more important as the parameters change and the work changes and the time changes and so on, and eventually you find that they end up over in this corner here. And of course what we do is we complete the tasks as they move up and continue this journey along. Sometimes the tasks will go the other way, of course. So what I'm suggesting here is that throughout the day and throughout the week you review your board and you move the tasks as they need to be moved depending on how your priorities within your role change. And you can use different coloured post-its for, maybe pink is for marketing, maybe green is for clients, and perhaps yellow is for home tasks, or whatever colour coding you want to use. And again, in the final column we have done it. So as the tasks find their way up into the corner here, they get done, they go into the done it column, and then at the end of the day you still have that very satisfying scrumple it up, throw it away. So this is a much more kind of continually dynamic and continually moving, because we recognise that certainly if you run your own business, your priorities often change depending on customer requirements, on supplier requirements, and whatever's going on within your business. So this is a dynamic process. This is still dynamic and very visual, but it helps you to categorise them into particular areas. Whichever one works for you is the one that you should use. You've got a lot of flexibility within this, and as I say, using the post-its and the boards means that you can continually look at it and move it without having that long list that you're having to put numbers by or highlight or whatever it is that you do at the moment. So, two very simple ways to help you prioritise your tasks and improve your time management. As I said at the start, I'm Martin from Evolution. I hope you found this interesting. Try it out, put it into practice and see how you get on. Thanks.